Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Sociology with me, Adam Melvin. Today we're going to look at functionalism, functionalist theory. Now, to understand functionalism, and to understand lots of the other theories, we have to cover some sociological terminology. Okay, so sociology, like many other disciplines, has its own set of terms and phrases which mean different things. Now, I didn't mention a lot of this within Marxism, but it can be applied there as well. But particularly for functionalism, this is important. Okay, the first one is social institution. Okay, now a social institution we can think of as the building block or the building blocks of society. Now, if we were to look at society from above, the social institutions would be all the different parts that make up our society. For example, law, the healthcare system, education, the economy, the media, and they all tend to need each other to work. For example, we need the economy for education. We pay taxes. We have to pay taxes for order to help fund the NHS. Again, for education, we have to work, and our tax goes to various parts of this. So everything needs each other to work. We need the education system to train people to then be able to work in different parts of society. Okay. Now, that's the first one. So social institutions. So keep that in mind. The second one is norms and values. Now, this isn't just a sociological thing. This comes up when we're looking at child development, psychology, other disciplines. But as far as we're concerned in sociology, norms and values, a norm is something that we do, and a value is why we do it. Okay. For example, some basic norms and values in our society might be that we hold the door open for someone when they're coming along, and we do that because it's polite. The other things might be to do with manners, how we behave in public versus how we behave at home, and it can go on and on. It's quite interesting if you look at different cultures, because things like queuing is a social norm in the UK, but in other parts of the world it's not necessarily a social norm, just because societies are different. So each culture will have their own norms and values. Now, the other sort of two terms we need to think about when we're thinking about functionalism, but also other sociological theories, are primary and secondary socialization. So what does this mean? Primary socialization is how we learn our norms and values, but primary to mean first. So primary is the norms and values we learn from birth in the home. So before we go out to nursery and schools and the wider education sector and work, we learn our norms and values from whoever our caregivers are, whoever bring us up. So whether that be parents, grandparents, carers, anyone who brings us up. And our secondary socialization process is the other things we learn once we get to nursery and school and work, and this can further shape us. Okay, so let's get into functionalist theory then. Functionalism is a consensus theory. So if you remember, I said in Marxism that was a conflict theory, where the groups involved are at conflict with one another. Functionalists or functionalist theorists would see the world as a consensus theory, meaning that generally groups are working. Now, a really good way to think of functionalism is like the human body. Okay, so the functionalist theorists suggest that society is like a human body. So where we have all the organs of the body and they all have to work together for the body to run, so society is the same. Society needs all the social institutions that are like organs to all work together so that society can work together. Okay, so that's a really good way of remembering functionalist theory.